If you ever see a town that isn't on your map, do not enter. Because once you enter, the town may remember you forever. In 1998, a young photographer named Ethan Cole was driving through a remote part of America when his car suddenly broke down. He checked his phone. No signal. The nearest town on his map was almost 50 miles away. But then Ethan noticed something strange. A small wooden sign stood beside the road. "Welcome to Blackwood." Below it, someone had written in red paint, "Population 417." Ethan had never heard of Blackwood, but he had no choice. He followed the road. After 20 minutes, he reached a tiny town surrounded by dark forests. There were houses, a gas station, a diner. But not a single person was outside. Ethan entered the diner. An old woman was sitting alone behind the counter. She stared at him and whispered, "You're not supposed to be here." Ethan laughed nervously. "I just need a phone." The woman's face suddenly changed. She looked terrified. Then she pointed toward the window. "Leave before the church bell rings." Ethan looked outside. There was an old church at the end of the street. Its clock showed 11:59 p.m. Ethan checked his watch. It was exactly 11:59. Then, dong. The church bell rang. The old woman screamed, and every light in the town went out. Ethan ran outside. The entire town was suddenly silent. No cars, no wind, not even insects. Then he heard footsteps behind him. Slow footsteps. Tap, tap, tap. He turned around. Nobody was there. Ethan ran back to his car, but his car was gone. In its place stood an old black house. He was certain that the house wasn't there before. The front door slowly opened. From inside, a woman's voice whispered, "Ethan." He froze. He had never told anyone his name. Suddenly, a photograph fell from the doorway. Ethan picked it up. Suddenly, a photograph fell from the doorway. Ethan picked it up. His blood ran cold. It was a photograph of the town. Hundreds of people were standing in front of the church, and in the middle of them was Ethan. But the photograph looked decades old. On the back, someone had written, "Blackwood, 417 residents." Ethan looked toward the street. The houses were numbered. 1, 2, 3. He kept walking. But the numbers continued. 414, 415, 416. Then he saw the final house, 417. The door opened by itself. Inside was a dark hallway, and hanging on the wall were hundreds of photographs. Every photograph showed a person, people who had disappeared. Then Ethan saw the newest photograph. It was a picture of him, taken just minutes ago. Ethan ran. He didn't know where he was going, but the town seemed to change every time he turned around. The road that was straight before now twisted into the forest. The diner disappeared. The gas station disappeared. Even the church was gone. Then Ethan noticed something. People were standing inside the houses, watching him through the windows. hundreds of them. Men, women, children, all staring directly at him. Ethan shouted, "Help me!" Nobody moved. Then every person inside the houses slowly raised one finger and pointed behind him. Ethan turned. A little girl was standing in the middle of the road. She wore an old white dress. Her face was pale. She smiled and said, "You're late." Ethan stepped backward. Late for what? The girl pointed toward the forest. The town needs a new resident. Suddenly, all the windows opened. Every person in Blackwood whispered the same words. 417. Ethan looked at the houses. The number on every door had disappeared. Then the old woman from the diner appeared behind him. She whispered, "The last person who entered this town was 20 years ago." Ethan asked, "Where is he?" The old woman pointed at the church, and Ethan saw someone standing beside it. A man holding a camera. The man looked exactly like Ethan. Ethan slowly walked toward the church. The man with the camera was standing under the broken clock. Ethan couldn't breathe. It was him. Same face, same clothes, same camera. The man looked at Ethan and whispered, "You need to leave." Ethan screamed, "Who are you?" The man smiled sadly. "I'm you." Then he explained the truth. Blackwood wasn't a normal town. Every 20 years, the town appeared on a road somewhere in America. It needed one new person, someone who would enter and take the place of the previous resident. The man in front of Ethan had entered Blackwood 20 years earlier. He had tried to escape, but every road led back to the town. Every map showed a different location, and every time someone tried to leave, the town took someone else. Ethan woke up inside his car. It was morning. Sunlight filled the road. The town was gone. Blackwood had disappeared. Ethan started the engine and drove away. For hours, he continued down the highway. Finally, he reached a gas station. He rushed inside and asked the cashier, "Do you know where Blackwood is?" The cashier stared at him. "Blackwood?" Ethan nodded. The cashier slowly shook his head. "There's no town called Blackwood around here." Ethan felt relieved. Maybe it had all been a nightmare. He walked outside. Then he noticed something. His camera. He opened it. There were hundreds of new photographs. Photographs he had never taken. The first picture showed the Blackwood Church. The second showed the old diner. The third showed the 417 houses. And the final photograph was a picture of Ethan standing in front of a wooden sign. He looked at the sign. His heart stopped. The sign said, "Welcome to Blackwood." But underneath it, the population had changed. Population 418. Ethan dropped the camera. Then he heard a church bell in the distance. Dong! His phone suddenly rang. Unknown number. Ethan answered. A woman's voice whispered, "Ethan, we're waiting for you." He looked behind him. The gas station was gone. The highway was gone. And standing in the darkness were 417 people, all smiling. Then Ethan realized the terrifying truth. Blackwood had never disappeared. It had simply moved. And now, it was waiting for the next person to enter.